your New York Knicks.
This for my city, New York. New York City where it's gritty. Yeah. For my city, never pretty. New York City, sing it with me. Yeah. For my city, New York City where it's gritty. NYC. For my city, never pretty. Yeah. New York City, sing it with me. Now we got the Nets that move into town. New York and Brooklyn showdown, but NYC has always been a Knick town. Orange and blue, we rock the colors with pride. Let's take it back to Walt Clyde and Earl Pro going to work on you guys. The UN era was live. It started in 85. The Twin Towers would devour you guys. R.I.P. to Dave the Butcher. We could never overlook a Knick legend up in heaven smiling down on our future. Bernard King, he was a scoring machine. He was a human wrecking ball, straight up destroying your team. There was no defense you could draw in the scheme. From post-game to mid-range, you had no chance. He would just shatter your dreams. Rod Strickland, Action Jackson, John Starks, he played with passion. Larry Johnson, Oak and Mason did a lot of party crashing. On any team who tried to step to NY. And if you put that jersey on, you better rock it with pride. Yeah. What up, y'all? Steelsdagreat, Knicks Talk Nation, every Sunday, 2 p.m. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Your boy is back at it again. My people, first of all, shout out to everybody listening live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody checking in live on barsandhoopsradio.com. You know what I mean? Make sure you download that app. If you're looking on the browser and you want to hear us on your smartphone, make sure you go and download the Bars and Hoops Radio app on all platforms. As you can see, all the information is in the back. But let's get right to it, man. You know, the Knicks, man, it's like a roller coaster ride with our team, man. I can't lie. You know, I'm a little nervous this series. I can't lie. I'm not as confident as I was in the Cleveland series, and not because of the players, but I'm really more nervous because of the actual coaching. Because if you really pay attention to what's going on right now, the Knicks are being severely outcoached. You know, forget the players. Like, there's one thing about showing up with energy, but it's also another thing to get your troops ready to play. And right now, that doesn't look like it's the case, and it's showing badly in this series. You know, right now, and shout out to 3 on the check-in. And right now, you know, it doesn't look good right now for the Knicks heading into Game 4. I mean, the whole series has been scrappy. It's been ugly. No team has really had their offense clicking. You know what I mean? But the difference between the two teams right now, in my opinion, is the way that the teams are being coached. You know, yes, Jimmy Butler missed Game 2, came back in Game 3, had a big game, had a major effect on the team. And, you know, the Heat, although they didn't shoot well, they still won the game handily. And that's the part that worries me. Both games that we lost, the Heat won without any problems. The game that we did win, it was a struggle, and it was always a struggle on offense, and it always seems like it's a one-man show against a team, and that's not looking like it's going to work for the Knicks if they look to pull out this game against the Miami Heat, who looks like a well-oiled machine, even though a lot of people didn't feel that they were going to do that well. They lost Tyler Hero. You know, they lost Victor Oladipo. They lost some major pieces, and yet they're still out here functioning, and it's always the next man up syndrome when it comes to this team, and that's clearly the difference between the two teams so far. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm a little optimistic heading into Game 3, man. I lost a couple of dollars, you know, putting money on my team, betting with my heart, but I really thought that they would have pulled out Game 3, but they didn't. But it is what it is, man, and it's all good. You know what I mean? That's what I'm a fan for. I'm not one of these fair weather fans. I look at the game and I call it how I see it. And right now the team is in dire straits, and if they don't get things together on the game plan tip as far as coaching is concerned, it might be another long night in Miami. So let's get to a little recap of the game. So as we all know, yesterday the Knicks lost in Miami 105-86. I was this close to going to the game too. I was about to get a ticket, you know what I mean, and fly out to Miami to go to the game and check it out. But I've been ODing because, you know, the past couple of weeks, and excuse me, and pardon myself for not showing up the last couple of weeks. As you all know, I have been going to all the games. I've been to all 3 playoff games thus far at the Garden. You you know, I didn't go to game. Well, I did go to game one of the Miami game, and they lost. But the games at the Garden, I was there. You know what I mean? And that's why we didn't have a show live the past couple of weeks. So excuse me for not being here, but I was in there enjoying my moment. You know, it's nothing like a Knicks playoff game. You know what I mean? The energy in MSG is outstanding. It's incredible. You know, Celebrity Row is like none other. You look at these other games and these other series, you look at their Celebrity Row and you be like, yo, who's that? Who? They got social media influencers that have 60,000 followers that sit in front row, and that's their celebrities. But it's nothing like New York, nothing like the Garden. And yes, us Knicks fans, we do get a little bit ahead of ourselves, and we are full of ourselves. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, we got Tipper in the building today, man. My man Tipper the Gambler.
What's going on, everybody?
Welcome, Tip.
How's everybody
How you
doing?
been, man?
What's going on?
Word, man. You all right, man?
We grooving,
Okay,
baby.
We grooving, man. How was your week, man? How was the past couple of weeks, man? I know I ain't been around, and I know you've been doing your ones and twos, man. But how's everything been on your end, Tips?
Everything is great, man. I can't complain. I'm glad to be here. Could be a whole lot worse. But, you know, we here for these Knicks. Let's talk about it. You know, it was a tough loss yesterday, but, you know, I feel they kind of zeroed in on Randall. They didn't really they let everybody else try to do some work and couldn't really do it. You know.
I got a couple of things on that, right? And I'm glad that you said that. So you saying that they zeroed in on Randall. I look at it a little different, right? And I know a lot of Knicks fans may not like this take or like what I'm about to say, but I got to call a spade, and the way that I see it is how I see it. But what I'm starting to see is a team that seems like they like each other, right? But Jalen Brunson, to me, is starting to take entirely too many shots for the point guard. He's shooting too much. He led the team in field goal attempts yesterday with 20 shots. He went 7 of 20 from the field to score 20 points. And a lot of those shots were forced. And the reason why I say that, and the reason why I don't really blame Randall or all the other guys, I mean, don't get me wrong. They were supposed to play with energy, and you're supposed to affect the game in other ways than just scoring. But the part that that kind of pissed me off was, you know, Jalen Brunson, he's already undersized. He played into the Miami Heat's hands. Like, what they're doing is they're basically packing the paint. They're forcing the Knicks to shoot threes and shoot jump shots. That's why we shot so poorly from three-point range, because they're giving us those shots, and they're saying, we'll dare you to make that. And if you beat us by the three-point in the long-range game, we can live with that. That's how we lost in game one, and that's how we lost game three. Go ahead, Tips.
But you got to keep this in mind as well. You got to rely on your players, right? You know players is going to do what players are supposed to do at certain key moments in the game. R.J. Barrett is not getting a pass. I understand that he had a little 14, 15 something points yesterday.
R.J. Barrett had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist on 5 of 16 shooting from the field.
Right.
Yes.
This is a game where he should have kind of took over.
But again,
you know, but if you're missing shots, who else you want the ball in their hands?
You gotta credit. This is why I said before you came in the building, I was saying that Coach Spoelstra is out coaching Tibbs.
Of course.
Series. But it's still a point guard's job to facilitate. They moved Jimmy Butler off of Jalen Brunson and put him on R.J. Barrett. I don't think that was the major difference. I just feel like with Brunson taking all of those shots and not getting his teammates involved, nobody was able to get into any type of rhythm. They couldn't run any type of offense, and they just were settling for what Miami gave them. Brunson was forcing it in the paint, like I said, and he was taking tough contested shots. And I think that it's a domino effect, because when he does that, guess who's going to be unhappy that they're not involved in the offense?
Randall.
There we go. And this is what happened in game one it was game two when he clearly wasn't feeling it and Tibbs had to bench him. Or was that against the Cavaliers?
It was in the Cavaliers.
That was the Cavaliers series. Okay, excuse me. when Tibbs had to bench him because he was in his feelings, because he wasn't in the flow of the game, he wasn't in the offense. You know what I mean? He basically checked out on the court. And I think that's what kind of happened. Everybody keeps saying that it's an injury or whatever. Jimmy Butler just had a nasty ankle injury yesterday, and he almost had another one yesterday, and he still played. I don't blame the ankle. It's effort, and it's also wanting to play when you're not getting the ball in your hands. I believe that he's out here just moping around, and when he gets the ball, he rushes things because he doesn't know if he's going to get the ball back. That's what I'm seeing from looking at the game. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Every game the Knicks won in the playoffs, they averaged over 20 assists in the game.
Mm-hmm. That's not a lot.
It's not. No, I said averaging over 20.
Yeah.
Over 20. Over 20. When they win the games. When they're not winning games, they're stagnant. You know, they didn't move the ball around enough yesterday. You know, everything. The second unit is not really producing. Quickly, this is the time you should be shining coming off the bench. 2, I think Hart should be coming back off the bench because they need some type of effort off the bench.
Bingo.
You know,
that's
Quentin Grimes need to go back into his starting role and let Hart come back off the bench because that chemistry started out ever since the trade.
There we
go back to what got you there.
And that's what I've been saying.
So it all boils down to what I said months ago. Mm-hmm. Tibbs got to go.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's hard to sell that. It's hard to sell that to the fan base. I mean, he's getting exposed. You know what I mean? This series is getting exposed. And, you know, it's not a bad thing because Eric Spoelstra is one of the better coaches in the NBA, if not one of the best coaches outside of that man in San Antonio, one of the best coaches in the league. And
it's all about matchups.
Yes, it is. And the way that the Knicks are playing this series, this series here, they're playing it as if they're still playing the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're not playing it. They didn't make adjustments to the team that they're playing, which is the Miami Heat. For as much as Tibbs knew Jimmy Butler, they're not attacking Jimmy. If he's injured, common sense would say run some plays for the man that he's guarding to put him on defense. Let him work. They're not doing that. But it seems like whenever the Knicks get into foul trouble, Spoelstra or whoever the other coach is sending players at the person who's in foul trouble. We don't ever do that. We don't ever put people under that pressure. And it goes back to what you said as well just now. The chemistry is off because now you have Hart in the starting lineup because you love him so much and you love him and Brunson playing together. And I think that's another thing that's kind of seeping in to the team chemistry. Like, they all know that they played together at college. They all know that that's his buddy. They all know that he's going to end up staying. And guys like Grimes, who's been here from the beginning, guys like Quickly, who's been here from the beginning, working for you, working their tail off for you, now you kind of pushing them to the side for a guy that just came here. I think that plays into players' morale because it's no way that you could tell me that you were off for 4 days in Miami. Nobody should be tired. Everybody should be amped and ready for that game, unless they all went out and partied, which I highly doubt. They should have been ready to play that game, and they should have gave a better performance than that. And as you said, the bench is suffering because Hart is in the starting lineup, and he's still playing 40-plus minutes a game.
He can come off the bench.
He can come back off the bench and still get those minutes, but you got to get guys.
You don't have to start, but you can always finish a game.
Exactly.
Everybody know that.
Exactly. You can put a guy like Grimes back in the starting lineup because he's not demanding the ball like that. He'll get it where he get it. He's a 3-and-D guy for them right now. Right now, he's not in any groove with the bench, the second unit, because you have him and Quickly basically button heads for, shot opportunities and minutes on the floor. Obi is in the game, then he's out the game. 1 minute he's in there, the next minute he's out the game. If Julius Randle isn't productive, you need to sit him down just like you'll sit anybody else down. Like, you can't afford to give him the benefit of the doubt, man. We suffered and lost the championship because one coach gave a certain play that needed to be sat down, the benefit of the doubt. And you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Starks.
John Starks. You know what I'm saying? So Tibbs got to get it together, man. At the end of the day, man, all the feelings and all that stuff got to be put to the side. And I know that my Knicks fans may not like this next take. Look at how Spoelstra is coaching, right? They lost Oladipo. They lost Tyler Hero. They got guys like Cody Zeller coming in, Matt Strus, Gabe Vincent. He moved Kyle Lowry to the bench.
He moved Kyle Lowry to the bench. Kyle Lowry only played like 10, 12 games this season.
Come on.
He moved him to the bench. You have him coming off the bench and causing havoc in the paint. Every time RJ Barrett would go to the hole, he'd do that thing. He'd get it around his stomach. They slap it right out of his hands. Yeah. Come on, man. He was doing that willingly, man.
But we can't blame RJ. RJ has been playing solid.
His matchups
ever since the first 2 games. It's not just the matchups. It's also people your coach is supposed to put you in the best position to be effective. They know your strengths, they know your weaknesses. They need to put him in a position the way he can be effective. Where he wasn't ever since that second game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, RJ Barrett has been solid every game since. He's averaged at least 20 points in the last 3 or 4 games that he's played. He's been playing well. This last game, I'm telling you, Jalen Brunson set the tone in yesterday's game by shooting entirely too much in the beginning of the game. And I went, and shout out to my people in Knicks Nation. I went immediately to the blog and I said, he has to learn when and where to pick his spots. We need him to play more like Chris Paul right now, not like Damian Lillard, because we just seen Miami bump Giannis and the Bucks. You know what I mean? And
after
that,
the coach lost his job behind that.
Facts. They fired him after that because they felt like they should have beat the Miami Heat.
Right.
They shut Giannis down. You know what I'm saying? So if they shut Giannis down, who's tall, athletic, a physical specimen, what do you think Jalen Brunson? The Knicks aren't going to win this series by just putting the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands and telling him to go to work. That's not going to happen. He's not that type of player. I'm sorry. I love him. I love the addition of Jalen Brunson, but we need him to be more of a point guard, facilitator first, and then pick your points, and pick your spots to score later in the game, man, because you got too many streaky shooters, and we don't have the shooters like that. One shooter that we have on the bench, he's not playing because the coach feels he doesn't play defense, which I think is a grave mistake as well when you think about it. I'm talking about Evan Fournier.
You got them sitting on the benches. It's all about you got to put players out there. You don't know what they're could do for you. You know, especially if your star players or your bench players are not performing. Got to utilize the bench. That's what it's there for. No, I understand you tighten your little rotation to a spade's hand, 8 and a possible, you know. But at the end of the day, you still gotta you gotta utilize your team. You gotta utilize the team. You can't be getting out coached out there.
It's looking really bad right now, man. And you know, I'm still holding out hope, man. I hope they bounce back. But right now, Miami's playing with house money. They have the home court advantage, and they have a chance to put us down 3-1 coming back to the Garden. And it's a must-win on Monday night. You know what I mean? But just to look at the numbers, man, and let's just compare the numbers for the game. So Josh Hart played 38 minutes. Julius Randle played 38 minutes. Jalen Brunson played 38 minutes. RJ Barrett played 25. Mitchell Robinson played 14. And that's primarily because he was in foul trouble early in the game. That's another thing. We're getting killed on the board. Well, we're not dominating the boards like we did in the last series.
We're getting outplayed at the boards.
We're getting out hustled.
You know, you're getting outplayed at the boards. You're letting the smallest guy on the opposite team get the rebound and throw it back down the court for an easy layup or easy 3.
Absolutely. So Josh Hart, he had 15 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists. Julius Randle had 10 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists. Jalen Brunson had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists on 7 of 20 shooter from the field, 0 for 5 from 3-point range. And that's another thing. 3-pointers killed us, man. We shot 43 pointers yesterday and only made 8 of them. That's just like eerily similar to game 1. We shot 20% from 3-point range. It's not going to cut it. We shot 73% from the line. Guys aren't making their free throws when they get there. It's these are NBA players we're talking about. Miami went to the line 31 times. They knocked down 28 of those attempts, and they shot at 90%. They didn't do great from three-point range as well. And we can't think that that's going to happen in Game 4. They went 7-32 from three-point range.
I'm kind of teed off with NBA actually, because
Let's
at the end of the day,
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
They shouldn't have gave them that extra day. They gave them an extra day. They should have played Friday night, not Saturday.
Absolutely.
You gave them an extra day.
Absolutely.
Why you gave them an extra day? Because it's a large market and you want to lock down the Saturday. Come on now.
Yeah,
you could have put that Boston game up there yesterday.
Yeah, that was
give it a buck, man.
Yeah, that was very strange that the NBA did that. You
put the large market teams on Saturday night.
Yeah. That was very strange.
With the Lakers and the Golden State after.
Yeah. They did that. That was very strange. And I was like, wow, 4 days? And I'm pretty sure they was down in South Beach for at least 3 of those 4 days. Because I know they didn't go right away. Because you could fall into a trap out there. You've been to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is. Strip clubs, the strip itself. It's a lot of temptation out there. It's the reason why guys go out there and look hungover in certain games and get their doors blown off, because it's a hard place to focus and play. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you brought that up, because that was weird that they had them have that long layover. They played on Tuesday, they didn't play again until Saturday.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
They don't even get those type of breaks during the regular season.
And the Lakers got a game in between that, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
They got a game in between. The Lakers played the same night the Knicks played last Tuesday.
Absolutely.
And they got a game in and still got yesterday in. Come on now.
Yeah. It was
Come on now.
Very strange the way that the NBA set up that schedule. But just looking at the numbers, like I said, Miami didn't blow the doors off of us, but the final score wouldn't suggest that. They beat us 105-86. They shot 39% from the field. We shot 34% from the field. They shot 22% from three-point range. We shot 20% from three-point range. They shot 90% from the free throw line. We shot 73% from the free throw line. We both had 13 turnovers apiece. They had 17 assists. We only had 15 assists. As far as the rebounds were concerned, it was pretty even on the boards. They had 50 boards. We had 48 with 14 offensive. They had 13 offensive rebounds. So it wasn't like they killed us on the boards or anything like that. We just didn't make shots.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just seemed like it was difficult for the team. You know what I mean? As far as the blocks were concerned, they had 5, we had 3. Steals, we had 4, they had 3. And as far as the personal fouls, it was 22-25. So therein lies the numbers, but the numbers don't tell what the outcome of the game was. That's why when I started off, I said I just feel like Jalen Brunson killed the chemistry in the beginning as he looked for a shot entirely too much and was taking a lot of contested shots at the beginning of that game. What you got to say about that, Tips?
The beginning of the game dictated everything.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a 12-2 run or something like that, 12-4 run or something like that. Some jumped right on them. They jumped right on the Knicks. The catch-22 to that is the Knicks wasn't moving the ball around. It was one shot and done.
There we go. A lot of ISO basketball. And I'm so surprised that a lot more fans aren't saying that, because what was the biggest knock on Carmelo? And what's the biggest knock on Julius Randle? They hold the ball too long. Jalen Brunson was holding the ball for damn near 10 seconds out of the shot clock.
And they don't care.
Well, they do care.
Well, I'm saying it's under the radar because at the end of the day, he's a hero to them.
Yes, he's winning. We're winning.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they're not looking at it like that. Let that have been Randall or somebody now. Of course, everything, he holding the ball too long. He this, he that. But like I tell everybody, you live by Randall, you die by Randall. You know?
Now, this is one of the rare occasions where I'm defending him, because I just felt like he wasn't given a chance to get into any type of rhythm yesterday. And that goes for the whole team. They couldn't get in the rhythm yesterday. Like I said, Brunson and Hart, man, they look like they out there playing college basketball, looking for each other. You know what I mean? Playing off of each other. They even do the press conferences together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just got there and, he gets that treatment. So I think that that's something to look at moving forward. But what do you think we need to do as far as making adjustments for Game 4? Because that's a must win. If we lose Game 4, the series is over.
Grimes got to go back to the starting position. You got to put Hart on the bench. The reason being is because, Josh Hart getting you 10 rebounds a game. That being said, you need the 10 rebounds coming off the bench. You don't need the 10 rebounds also with your center who's getting in the foul problems because he's trying to offset, fight the one who's trying to slam him in the back to catch the rebound.
Yeah.
Two, you need that quickly kind of played better with Hart, with him coming off the bench with him. I still say, give Grimes his minutes, man. Give Grimes his minutes. Grimes got to get his minutes. Then I understand he coming off a soldier injury, but let him start now. Time for him to start. Hart got to come off the bench.
That's a fact. Shout out to my brother, Big Ron Fletcher. He said the Knicks got to give Obi Toppin more minutes. His athleticism will give Miami big problems. And I do believe that. You know what I mean? Like, Obi's the type of guy that he doesn't need the ball to be effective or making an impact on the game because he does run.
Yeah,
they get a rebound, he runs that floor, and he'll finish. You know what I mean?
But one knock I have over Randall is sometimes, when Brunson is bringing the ball up, Randall stops right at around the top of the key or the wing. Stop doing that sometimes. Sometimes slash to the hole. You might catch it in stride and easy layup.
That's a fact.
You need those type of shots every now and again, man.
That's a fact. Somebody said Julius Randle needs to be benched and forbidden to take 3-point shots. I'm not going to agree with the bench part, but yes, he needs to be stopped with all of those threes that he does take because, that kills us because that's our big man that's outside taking these shots. That probably is Zod. You know what I'm saying? A whole hater. So see you in a couple hours. But one thing that we haven't mentioned, which is going to be a major hurdle next game, is that Quickly sprained his ankle, and he might not be available for Game 4. Now, I'm not too worried about it because I do have faith in guys like Deuce McBride, who plays defense, and he can knock down a three.
If Quickly don't go, I think they're gonna put Fournier in.
Evan Fournier over Deuce McBride? Well, they need the shooting. But I would love to see Fournier. I would love to see Fournier because, but then again, he might just pack it in, pause, because he's like, oh, now you want to play me? You know what I mean? Now you need me? So you never know how a psyche may be. You know what I mean? But I would love to see him because they could use his shooting. You paid the man $72 million.
He's on the second year of that contract, too.
Nah, third year. He got one more year. You know what I mean? But you paid this man $72 million, man, to just be a glorified role player on the bench. And the reason why they held on to him is because his contract is very valuable if they make a trade because it's an expiring contract, So I hope that, Tibbs does the right thing because you have 15 men on the bench for a reason, man. All of these guys are good enough to play in the NBA. Everybody that's on the court is not a two-way player. You know what I mean? There's not too many two-way players in the NBA. Everybody has a certain skill set, and you as the coach is supposed to figure out how to utilize them and get the best out of their skill set. And I think that Tibbs has to do a better job of coaching because right now, Eric Spoelstra on the other side is using his whole team. You know what I mean? The first two games, Gabe Vincent was looking like he was going to be a problem for the series. He was knocking down threes. He was playing aggressive. Yesterday, he only had 5 points. He went 1 of 8 from the field. That's not going to happen again. These boys are going to shoot better in Game 4. We got to do better as well because they're going to look to stick a knife in us in that fourth game, man. They don't want to go back to the Garden tied up and then have to come back to Miami, win another game, and then come back to the Garden. If they could get us out of here, they want to get us out of here, man. We got to do a better job.
I got to go back to Tibbs.
Let's go.
I give Tibbs all the props for putting New York back on the map as far as, doing what he has to do, making the team better. but I don't think Tibbs is the answer. You know, because he ain't get a chip in Chicago, and he got them to the finals, right?
Yep.
He got them to the finals, and he ain't get him a chip. What he did in Minnesota?
Nothing.
Okay. Where else did he go after that? He ain't go nowhere after that, right?
He was in Boston as an assistant. So he got a ring with the Celtics.
He got a ring as an assistant coach.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. You know, as far as Tibbs, I don't think is the coach to take this team over to the promised land.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe that too. But
you know,
yeah,
he's limited. He's a limited coach because he's stern in one way, and he's not. He don't take he don't take ideas or criticism to open up the bench. You got a whole team, 15 people on the bench. You telling me you can't use nobody? You didn't use nobody yesterday? Right. You telling me in that comeback you couldn't put Derrick Rose or McBride in that minute? You couldn't put Fournier in that minute? You needed shooting. Yeah. Your shooting was horrible yesterday. Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah. And in game one, it's the rhythm, man. It's the rhythm, and the way that he's approaching this game is as if they're still playing that Cleveland Cavaliers team that really didn't have much of offense outside of the ISO players that they had as well. So they was able to play this ISO basketball game. Now you have a team that plays better on defense, plays together as a team, and they can knock down those threes.
The Knicks won games out throughout the season by moving the ball, not isolation basketball. If we go into isolation basketball, kiss the season goodbye.
That's a fact.
Pick your vacation, Knicks.
Pick out where you going. Cancun. Yes,
DR.
Hey, you might get in trouble. DR. But anywho, yeah, man, I'm nervous this series. I'm really nervous. I didn't feel this way, and I lost a couple dollars on this game, on this series so far. But I'm really, really nervous at what the outcome of the season of this series is going to be. I was super confident headed into it. I was talking that Knicks and 5 nonsense and all of that. And everybody couldn't wait to get me. Soon as I get home from the game, I'm getting inboxes from people that ain't even know that I know I'm a Knicks fan. With the L in the inbox and all that.
No, man.
I ain't gonna put them on blast. I'm gonna leave them alone. But I'm just like, there's some secret haters out there. You know what I mean?
Of course there is.
I can't even live my best life and go watch my Knicks play without the hate.
They don't want that. They don't want that.
Nah, but I really am a little nervous, man. I'm really nervous heading into game 4 because we quite frankly didn't see the best from both teams. They shot under 39%. That's a recipe to lose a game. And they won the game by almost 20 points. They won by 19 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself is a problem that I'm worried about. We got to tighten up the free throw shooting. We have to stop taking so many threes, and we have to make better adjustments to what they're doing because they're making us a strictly perimeter-based team that's settling for threes or long contested 2-point shots, man.
One and dones.
Exactly. One and dones, man. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot heading into game 4, man. So let's talk a little bit about these rumors, man. And I hate to do it, man. And I'm surprised that people have done it so early with the season still going on. But we all seen Milwaukee get bumped the other day. We all heard Giannis. We all seen what the organization did with Budenholzer. We all seen that Jay Crowder was like, he don't even know what the hell he's doing there. He doesn't know what his role is. They got bounced. They brought him there to be a 3-and-D guy. He got no burn. And ultimately, Coach Budenholzer, who led them to a championship just 2 seasons ago, is now on the unemployment line, possibly mourning his brother's death and thinking of what his next moves are in the NBA, man. So, first of all, what do you think about these Giannis rumors? Do you think that we could pull it off? And do you think that it even makes sense to bring a guy like Giannis to New York?
I gotta think about this one for a minute.
Well, let me start.
Let me think about this one. Let me think about this one.
All right. So the reason why everybody's talking about this is because Brian Windhorst brought this up. And they was everybody knows Windhorst was the first one that kind of broke the stories on Jalen Brunson. And then he also broke the story about the Knicks possibly getting Donovan Mitchell if the opportunity presented itself. So now he's predicting that New York may be the next landing spot for Giannis, though he may want out of Milwaukee because of the fact that they look like they're about to go into rebuild mode. Chris Middleton may not sign back with them. They probably don't have the horses to compete anymore because the league is changing. Teams are getting better. They've been good, even though they won over 60 games this season.
Did Giannis sign his extension? Oh, this is the extension.
Yes, he did sign his extension. Yes. So he's already paying. That's another thing that people have to look at in terms of talking about this type of move, because you got to make the salary work. You have to make it fit. And who would Milwaukee want in return for a guy like Giannis?
What could Giannis do for a Knicks team if the team is structured pretty much the way it is now? You have how many games would you win with him? No.
Mm-hmm. I think that that's a good question, because when I look at him, I don't look at him as, and I don't want to hate on him or nothing, but I don't look at him how I look at a KD. KD can get his own shot anytime he wants, but looking at that Phoenix series, I think he's even getting exposed. Like him and Devin Booker, it's this my turn basketball stuff. I think that's a thing of the past. That's not going to win in the NBA anymore.
What Phoenix problem is, they bench. They don't have a bench, and they're not going to be able to keep up with Denver. Denver got a slew of people on their bench. I didn't know Reggie Jackson was over there and all that doing all that. Yep. I didn't know all of that. Wow. Yeah, they got
they playing. They playing their hearts out, man. They playing their hearts out. But back to Giannis, I don't see him. Well, I'm not going to say he's not going to have an immediate impact on the team, because he's just a physical specimen that gets up and down the court at will. He dominates on the glass. He dominates on the defensive board, and he's strong.
So that means OB out of here. OB will be out of here. Mm-hmm. Who else? Who else out your youth? Because you're going to have to give up some key members out your youth.
Yeah, Quickly is gone. Yeah. But that's if they even want those guys, because it's still, in their mind, not a fair trade now, unless Giannis tells them, like, look, I gave y'all all these years. I bought y'all a championship. Y'all need to send me where I want to go. I think that he's only going to choose a place like this, one, for the market, because a lot of Greeks here in New York, and two, if he wins the championship here, just like in Milwaukee, his reputation is solidified forever. I think the last time before this they won a championship was when Oscar Robertson never won a championship. So I don't even think did Kareem win the championship with them? I don't know. I have to look that up, man. If anybody has any information about that, they can call in the number. It's 516.
Oh yeah,
206-0711.
I forgot. Nobody's talking about the movie that came out last month. The old NBA player who's down with Sweetwater.
Sweetwater Clifton?
Yes.
Well, who?
That movie came out. You didn't know about that movie?
No.
Yeah, that movie came out last month. Word. I forgot to talk about that joint.
What is the title?
That's the name of it. It's called Sweetwater.
Oh, Sweetwater?
Yeah, okay. It's called Sweetwater.
Okay.
When you get a chance, go peruse it,
Yeah, I'm going to definitely do that, man.
I forgot about that. Shout out to him. I think he was the first black player for the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it might be.
If I'm not mistaken, around that time. That's before my time. I didn't get a chance to see the movie. I didn't get a chance to, but I know it's out there, and I was supposed to, and I fell asleep the day I was going to see it.
Yeah, I got to check into that. I got to look into that, for real, man. I like watching them type of movies, man, for real. But to answer your question, I think that adding Giannis would make them a formidable team as they're currently constructed. But if you're getting him and you got to take away a lot of the pieces that we have here and that we built, I don't see it really being a win-win for the organization. It'll just be another Carmelo Anthony type of move that'll put butts in the seat, but it won't put W's in the win column. You know what I mean? And we won't be able to get past a certain level in the playoffs. And it's safe to say that the team that he had in Milwaukee was much deeper than this Knicks team is currently constructed. You know what I mean?
It's deep, but it's not as deep.
It's not as deep.
Mm-hmm. I think the Bucks have more players on their bench that could come out and could start on some teams. You know?
Yeah, nah, you're right. You're right, man. You're right. But it'll be very interesting to see because I'm seeing all media outlets covering it, bringing it to light, talking about it like it may come into fruition as soon as next season, next summer. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that because as I look at the Eastern Conference, who knows what's going to happen with Boston? Jaylen Brown looks like he's ready to take off out of Jason Tatum's shadow. You know what I mean? Harden looked like he's checked out of Philadelphia. Did you see that game the other day? He was out there like he wasn't even there.
The reason why is because they're doing a lot of arguing on the sidelines. There's a clip out there. There's a clip out there with Harden sitting in the middle, and Embiid on the right, and Trent Tucker on the other side.
Okay.
And PJ they were talking, and Embiid said something to Tucker. He was like, "What the you say?" And Harden had to like get in the middle of both of them, like easy, settle down, because they was really about to go at it.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of turmoil.
I didn't know that. So right. Doc Rivers needs to get a hold on that that team. And shout out to Big Ron Fletcher. He said the Bucks did win a championship in 1971 with Kareem. So Giannis is already a legend there. He's a god there already.
Of course.
So if he was to come here, you know, that'll solidify his reputation if he can do anything remotely close to that here. You know what I mean? But I think the best way to get him is hopefully that he can walk when it's his time to walk. You know what I mean? I don't think that making the trade with them makes much sense because they're going to take back half of the team that we have now that's making us even competitive.
Of course.
As it stands, you know? Word, man. So what's your predictions, Tips, man? How you feel about the rest of the series moving forward, man?
If Tips doesn't make adjustments in Game 4, you can kiss this series goodbye. Because at the end of the day, you'll be down 3-1. You have to win in the Garden to go crazy. Then it would be 3-2. Then you take it back to Miami. Then if you're not going to show up in Miami, what's the sense?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
If you're not going to show up in Miami, what's the sense? You got to show. You got to take a game there. You got to take a game there.
Yeah, we have to. We have to. Game 4 is a must win. Game 5 is a must win. You know what I'm saying? Go back to Miami, drop one. All right, cool. You come back to New York. You got home court advantage, man. Game 6, all is up in the air. But I must say this, man, and this is something that the NBA has to really look into, man, because it's just ridiculous at how the game changes so much for the playoffs as far as the way that it's reffed.
Of course.
And officiated. It's like it doesn't make any sense to me, man. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense that they can let dudes get clobbered because whatchamacallit was getting clobbered yesterday. They wasn't really calling any calls on them.
Who?
On both teams, it was Harden or who was it? It was Harden. Damn. What was it, man? Not Harden. I'm bugging. RJ Barrett. No, it was Josh Hart was getting clobbered yesterday, man. Jalen Brunson was getting clobbered yesterday, and they wasn't calling anything. And Julius Randle was getting hemmed up, and you see, they almost had a fight because of that whole situation.
Because in the last series, who talked about that, Tim? But they were doing a lot of more flopping or like they were faking.
Who?
Who was it? It was one of them players that was it Okoro? It was somebody from that Cleveland team, and they were saying how.
Oh yes, they were saying that.
They was talking about how the Brunson be trying to like forcing you to foul him and type.
Yeah.
Like faking.
Yeah. But some of these fouls yesterday was blatant. Like they was like slapping them in the back of the head, like, and they wasn't calling it. They was letting them play, but it almost got out of hand, and it's because the refs wasn't making the calls, man. And it's like, I'm tired of them dictating the outcome of a game, man, because it's like they're fouling key players out early, and that changes the complexion of the game. That keeps the game closer, and, it's like you playing for these bookies. You know what I mean?
So my thing is to you, what do you think the NBA gonna want? Want Miami to finish the Knicks out on this hell of a run, being the 8th seed? Or you think they want the TV ratings and stretch this series out?
Well, since we're talking conspiracy theories now you're talking my thing, my brother. So I think that right now the Knicks is such a compelling story, but as you can see, they're trying to paint this narrative of playoff Jimmy and Jimmy Butler's this because they bumped off the Bucks. And so anyhow you slice it, the Knicks wasn't supposed to be here, but they know that the Knicks fan base is real. So the ratings will go through the roof. I don't think the same can be said about Miami, because if you look at it and you hear all the backstories, you had fans from the Heat selling their ticket to Knicks fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really diehard fans. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, if you looked at the crowd yesterday, it was a great mixture of Knicks and Heat fans.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They flew out. I was going to be one of them.
Flew out there for that game.
I was going to be one of them. So I think for the NBA's sake, it makes more sense when the Knicks are relevant, because, that's more ratings.
Yeah, Miami popping right now. They got that car race going on.
Yeah.
They got a hockey team in the playoffs and the Miami Heat in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on right there.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. Miami popping this week.
Yeah, facts. I wanted to go down there. I wanted to go out there for Cinco de Mayo. I wanted to be shout out to all my Mexicans. I wanted to be out there with y'all. Normally I would be in South. I want to be in South Beach. I'll be in Vegas right now watching Floyd fight. You know what I mean? Because we usually go out there every Cinco de Mayo weekend, man, to go see Money Mayweather go whip on a Mexican fighter that weekend. He purposely chose that weekend to fight because it was tradition that his uncle did and his father did, the fight on Cinco de Mayo against Mexicans, man. But that's neither here nor there, man. But as far as me, I'm with you, man. Like, if the Knicks don't make any real adjustments, which it doesn't seem like they've done thus far, this series may be over in 5. You know what I mean? Like, I just, nothing that I have seen from any of these games, even the game that they won, gives me the confidence to say that, okay, we got them. You know what I'm saying? Now we got them. It wasn't like Cleveland, when I clearly seen that Cleveland really didn't have much for the Knicks on the bench. We did a hell of a job on Donovan Mitchell. Now that kind of hurt his stock, because the rumor is that the first opportunity that he gets, he's coming to New York as well. Now, after seeing this performance by him, would you welcome him in New York with open arms?
I've been said, even if he came to the Knicks in the beginning of the season, he was only an extra 10 games. You know, now maybe him and Brunson in the backcourt, maybe it would be something.
Yeah.
It would be something. I give him about 15 more wins, 15 more. I wouldn't say 20. I'll say about a good 15.
So we have been
as far as him in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell go ghost in some games, man. He had a 48 point game. And what he do the next game? He only had like 20.
Yeah.
He's not consistent enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as him being a savior for the Knicks, I think he would need help. I don't think he would need to take as many shots as he do or he been doing.
Yeah.
Because it made Cleveland a one player type of situation.
That's a fact.
That's
a fact. And speaking of guys not showing up in the playoffs, Julius Randle has to show up in the playoffs, man. And that means that if you gotta impose your will on whoever they put on you Down in the box, you need to diversify your game, man. We need you
course.
in that paint, man. We don't need you at the top of the key, at the top of the 3-point line, trying to set up the offense.
He stays
throwing
there
the
all the
offense
time.
off. And you know,
All the time.
yeah, but another thing that people pointed out that could be also a problem is that we got so many left-handed guys on the court. They all bunched up on one side of the floor. You know what I mean? But you know, that's neither here nor there, man. But I'm looking forward for the Knicks to come back, hopefully, and even the series. But it's going to be a
Josh Hart
fight.
to the bench.
Yeah, they have to put Josh Hart to the bench. They got to put some more.
If Quickly don't play the next game, Josh Hart cannot be your starter. He cannot be a starter.
Yeah,
you have to adjust this situation better.
Yeah. You have to add Grimes to the starting lineup and let Grimes do him. For real.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. Because you got to compensate for Quickly's minutes as well as his points.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. So it remains to be seen, my brother, man. But we come to the end of another show, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that tuned in live on barsandhoopsradio.com. Shout out to everybody that tuned in on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that checked in on YouTube, man, today, man.
Enjoy the good weather.
Everybody in the comment section, man. We heard up, man. It's always appreciated when we get some good feedback from people that check in with us, man. You know what I'm saying?
Including the haters.
That's a fact, including the haters. Man. I guess that does mean you, Zach. You know what I mean? Word up, man. Shout out to my guy 3D, man. We go back and forth all the time, man. Got a couple dollars for him, man, behind these two games, man, because I definitely thought the Suns was going down on Friday night, and I thought the Knicks was going to win yesterday. But, hey, man, that's why they call it gambling, right? Word up, man. So on that note, man, don't forget, man, every Sunday, you know, we are Knicks Talk Nation Radio. Myself, Steelsdagreat, Tip of the Gambler, and Mike Ray when he's around. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to you, Mike.
Shout out to Mike Ray, man. But until next week, man, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you download the Bars and Hoops radio app. Check us out daily on the website at www.barsandhoops.com. If you want to go straight to the website where it's an audio player, you can go to barsandhoopsradio.com. And yeah, man, that's it, man. So, Tips, you got anything to say to anybody before we get out of here, man?
Just enjoy a good game tomorrow, everybody. Just enjoy a good game tomorrow.
Word up, man. And it should be a good one, man. Hopefully the Knicks is on the winning end, man, and I could throw my jersey on with pride, man, because right now I'm a little optimistic about the team and what we can do in the next game. But, hey, man, it remains to be seen, man. So on that note, myself, Steelsdagreat, Tip of the Gambler, Bars and Hoops Radio is the station, Knicks Talk Nation is the show, and until next week, we are signing off. Peace.
Peace.